You saw in last week's video, we've got all of the landscaping fabric put in. We burned the holes into it, got it ready to plant tomatoes and other vegetables to go forward. Today, we are going to work on transplant. Now, we have 3 days, starting today. Today's day 1. We have 3 days of nothing but cloudy and rainy skies. This is the perfect time to be transplanting your vegetables out into your high tunnel. Now, these tomatoes, you guys do know, we've talked about this in the past. These tomatoes and peppers have been acclimated to this high tunnel for 2 weeks now. I've slowly brought them outside for a couple hours a day about a month ago, and then the last 2 weeks they have been in this high tunnel uncovered, sitting as they are right now. I've covered them twice. One was last night. We had dipped down into the high 20s last night. We had a hard freeze. And so I wanted to make sure none of these were going to die. So we did cover them last night. But other than that, we have been kept them uncovered. I've got a row of tomatoes in now. We've got 5 more rows of tomatoes to put in. So let me get some tomatoes and let me get started. One of the first things I like to do is I like to go ahead and run my drip irrigation. Turn the valves. You can kind of hear that water. And that's going to go ahead and pre-wet the soil as I work my way down all the way, so it'll be easier for me to get deep and get these roots dug in deep. Now, I'm going to assume, since you guys are watching this video series, you're kind of already familiar with tomato plants and how they work. But if you are not, let me just quickly go over. There are 2 types of tomato plants. You have indeterminate and determinate style tomato plants. We grow both kinds here. We only sell one kind at market, and that is the determinate style tomatoes. I like the way determinate style grows. You yourself can Google or find other YouTube videos. There are hundreds and hundreds of videos about determinate tomatoes and indeterminate tomatoes and why you should grow both or one or the other. We choose to grow a high tunnel growing tomato from Johnny's Seeds called BHN 589. They are very vigorous, put on a lot of fruit, a lot of heavy fruit. We get over 1 pound fruit, average over 1 pound off of each one of these plants. So usually I can get anywhere from 15 to 25 pounds per plant, depending on the time of year, the fertilizer regimen, all that stuff's going to depend. But let me get you in close here. If you guys see, let me see if I can get it to, there you go. See those little hairs there? That is a tomato root system. It will root as far up as those hairs go. You can see they even go up into the first and second set of true leaves. So what you want to do is you want to primarily bury this stem as deep as you can. I usually bury it as far as I can physically dig in the ground by hand, and then that's where I will bury that tomato. And the reasoning behind that is each one of these little hairs here will grow side shoots. And what that will do, especially in a high tunnel situation where basically this is an air tunnel, once you open the sides, air is just going to whip through here. What that's going to do is that is going to, like I said, it's going to put side roots off. And then at those side roots, that's going to make your transplant a lot healthier and a lot stronger and be able to hold on to that wind. As that wind whips through here, it will be able to hold a nice sturdy plant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you down, and I'm probably going to show you a first couple ones, and then from that we're going to time lapse it, and that way you guys don't have to literally watch me plant 100 tomato plants. So let's get started. Now there's a lot of misfacts, misdemeanors, myths, all kinds of stuff. We do know calcium is a very good proponent to peppers and tomatoes, anything in the nightshade family, which both of them are nightshade. I think potatoes are also. What I do is I save all of my eggshells from the past year and over winter, and I grind them up in my food processor, and then I put a little bit of this in the bottom of the hole when I transplant. Now, whether this helps the tomato or not, we do know that tomatoes and peppers both suffer from blossom end rot, possibly, and that is just a calcium deficiency. So to keep that from happening, there are a lot of fertilizers out there that you can buy that has calcium in it. I'm already eating eggs anyway, so why not just save the eggs, wash them out, and then I just reuse them. Like I said, I've got multiple containers inside my storage room there that I use. So once I run out here, I will go grab some more. But I like to dig the hole out. See, this is what helps when you have that water in there, you can see with my gloves, I got gloves on because it's pretty wet and muddy in there. But see, that soil's nice and wet in there. So what I do is I will dig as far down as I can. I will just take a pinch, maybe a couple pinches of that, and I will put that in the bottom of the hole. I will grab my transplants, and if you notice, you can see that dirt's just a little bit dry. What I did that on purpose. You notice how easily those transplants come out of these pots here. See how easy that is? What that's from is you want to almost starve it of water. Now, when I say that, you want to just not water it the day of you're going to be planting. What that does is dry out the soil just enough and releases it on the side. If you look inside of that cup there, there is hardly anything in there, and that's exactly what you want. And what that also does is when you do that every once in a while, you actually trick the plant into fight or flight mode. And so you actually, I believe, now this is my thinking, but I believe it actually improves the health and the vigor of the tomato plant because it puts it in a stressful situation and it's got to fight or flight. So that's what I do, whether that's, like I said, it's another one of those myth things. But what I'll do is I'll put, like I said, you saw me put the eggshell on the bottom. I will put my transplant as deep as I can in there, in the hole. And then I will take the soil that I dug up and I will pack it around and I will give it a nice little mound here. Just like that. Just like that. There you go. And see, that's the best thing I like about this landscaping fabric is also tomatoes, get a lot of light or a lot of blight, early blight, late blight, and a lot of soil-borne issues. This landscaping fabric, or landscaping mulch, however you want to look at it, prevents the leaves from physically touching the dirt. Hindsight, not get as many diseases. And I have done this for 2 years now, and I have found that to be true, that my tomato plants don't get a lot of blight. I don't have to spray for blight because it's not touching the soil. And I'm using drip irrigation. Now, if you were to overhead water this, water is going to splash up on the leaves. That could cause blight. So you're killing two birds with one stone. You're using drip irrigation, which is getting the best possible watering method to your plants and vegetables. And you're also using this landscaping fabric or landscaping mulch to protect your babies from soil-borne pathogens. Now, since these are a determinate tomato, I only pulled the first couple sets of leaves off, and I will leave these from now on to bush out because that's what's going to protect my fruit from getting sun scalded. But anyway, guys, let me work on down the line here. I'll show you one more. All right, guys, let me show you one more, and then we'll work on down the line here. Just open the hole up. And see, that's one thing I like about burning the holes also. When you burn them, you get a nice, pretty much clean edge here, about as clean as you can get. But see, I could dig. I'm digging 7 inches down into the ground. So we'll pull that plant out. We will pop that plant into the soil there, push it down as far as I can go. You're not going to hurt anything. You can be a little rough with these guys. These guys have been acclimated to the soil here, or to the high tunnel here, so you can push them a little bit. Now, don't get rough and start doing some WWF with them, but you can rough them just a tad bit. There we go. Nice and pretty. So now we're just going to work on down the line. That is it. 100 tomato plants put in the ground here. This center row, if you're wondering, is going to be snacking, those little baby snacking cucumbers. That's the reason why this center row's got string on it, and the reason why it's open. But I do have, actually we have 125 tomatoes, because if you look right here, there's another row of 25 here. What I've got left is a bunch of bell peppers and gypsy sweet peppers. I'm going to put that in that row. I got a lot of work to do, guys, to get this done. Once again, guys, thanks for coming along on our journey, following along this week. I hope I see you next week. Till then, bye. Hey, remember, go plant something.